point in the end as well, because after 9 fruitless meetings in the league, they pick up their first against Chelsea. And they were so much better in the second half, Michael.
Yeah, they were. I think that's a big point for them. When you look how tight it is down at the bottom of the table there, every point is really, really important now. And Chelsea will be disappointed to let a goal slip and their 3 points slip. But I thought Brighton deserved it on the second half performance. They were huffing and puffing. They had a couple of chances. And when you score an overhead kick like that, then you deserve something out of the game.
That shows you how big a point that is really for Brighton. Takes them further away from that bottom 3.
It does indeed. And if they can, I would think Graham Potter now would be thinking, if we can just keep pinching a point here and there, they're going to be fine. They're going to be okay. You know, that's what he'll believe. He'll believe that if he's competitive, and he made a smart change, I thought, at half-time, bringing Connolly on. Bit more nuisance factor and lots of energy up there. Chelsea wilted a little bit second half as well. Physically, I thought Brighton was stronger, deserved it, as Michael says. So, good point for them, excellent point. And all the time you're keeping daylight between yourselves and that trapdoor, and there's lots of teams below you, then you're going to be okay.
And what a few days for Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh. We saw how emotional he was when he scored his first ever Brighton goal only a few days ago against Bournemouth, followed up then by 2 in 2. What a finish from him.
Well, what a finish. I mean, I mentioned at half-time, out-swinging corners, you have to be on second balls. Very rare you score with the first header. And it's been the case. Both goals in this game have been exactly the same from that point of view. However, let's not talk about that when the Spurs just scored an overhead kick of that quality. I mean, absolutely brilliant. Great technique. Nobody on the post. Everyone had squeezed out. And, of course, great direction into the corner. No chance for the goalie.
Great direction as well there from the cameraman who picked out those supporters, and the looks on their faces. Almost a look of disbelief on his face as well.
Well, because when you're in the air, when you're doing that, when you're in the motion of literally trying to watch the ball and you're going backwards, you don't really know where you're going to go with this. No. It's just, you're just hoping to make a reasonable sort of contact. And he hits it perfectly and he goes right in the corner. Brilliant goal.
Both teams had late chances, really, to snatch all 3 points. Callum Hudson-Odoi for Chelsea, Michael.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi, he played the other day and he was quite disappointing, I felt. But Frank Lampard, give him a bit of a chance today. He just opens up nicely. You're just waiting for him to feather it into that far corner with a little bit of bend on it, but obviously just gets under it and goes over the bar.
Yeah, likewise, again, Brighton were pushing. This one for Mopa, I thought he was going to score. I thought it was a great ball when it was cut back. He's going to score.
He does everything right, doesn't he? A great ball. I tell you what, they're not hard. They're not easy to keep down. Yeah. He keeps it down. He hits it hard. And sometimes I hate the term just hit the target, but sometimes you are, it's too hard a chance to be too precise with. So you're just thinking, keep it down and smack it as hard as you can.
Yeah. Burnley against Aston Villa was a huge game as far as Villa were concerned, and your old team in desperate need. Played then so far in the Premier League in 2020. We just saw there Brighton claiming a late point in that 1-1 draw at home to Chelsea, and Aston Villa with a crucial away win. Their first in 7 away to Burnley. Still to come, and there's lots of drama on the way as well in England's top flight. Newcastle take on Leicester. Southampton, Tottenham's our focus for our first goal rush. Watford looking to continue their resurgence under Nigel Pearson at home to Wolves. The battle of Pep Guardiola and Carlo Ancelotti as Manchester City take on Everton. Bottom club Norwich face Crystal Palace. David Moyes takes charge for the second time, of course, at West Ham United at home to Bournemouth before that heavyweight clash. And so in terms of those 2 games that have been played, Chelsea, well, they stay in 4th position. They go to 36 points. It means they're now within 5 points of Manchester City and 5 points clear of Manchester United. At the other end, well, Aston Villa, they move out of the relegation zone up into 16th, 2 points clear. West Ham dropping into the bottom 3, but Brighton, as you can see there, courtesy of that point, takes them to 24 points from their 21 games played. Let's get some post-match reaction from events at the Amex Stadium. Let's hear from the Seagulls' Lewis Dunk.
Lewis, very well done. How satisfying a way is that to start the new year?
Yeah, it's a very good point, being 1-0 down half time. To show the character and to fight back we did, and to be that dominant in the second half is good for us. But I thought we were going to go on and nick it at the end, but unfortunately we didn't.
The longer the game went, the stronger you seem to become, and that's quite a testament in a way, because this is the 4th game of a very busy period, yet the energy levels were still there.
Yeah, the energy levels were there. We've rotated the squad and we used everyone over this period, and that's what we need. But yeah, obviously they were going to come press us early on. We wanted to play out, and it was difficult at times in the first half. They pressed well, but they can't press for the 90 minutes, and we were going to get round them in the end, and we stuck with it, and we managed to get our game going.
And what a week Ali Ambach has had, hasn't it?
Some week, yeah. That's some finish. Hats off.
Have you always felt he's got that in him? I know he's taken a while to get that first goal, but now it's 2-2.
Of course, he shows it in training. He works his socks off in training, and he's never give up. And it shows. If he keeps going, you get your chance, and he's got 2-2. So, all credit to him.
Well, listen, in the Premier League for Brighton against Chelsea, it had been played 5, lost 5. This is your first point against Chelsea, so it's a historic occasion.
Yeah, it's a big point, and it's a point we worked hard for. You see the boys coming off there knackered, and it's a hard fought point, and just unfortunately we couldn't go and nick at the end.
And a historic comeback, Chelsea with a slender 1-0 lead away to Brighton. Cesar Azpilicueta with the Premier League's first goal of the new decade, and well deserved in the end, Michael.
Yeah, I think so. I think Chelsea probably had the better of it. Azpilicueta, rare goal for him. Nodded back in there. It's an outswinging corner. And I think if you just keep an eye on Azpilicueta, watch his movement. He's the one that is alive. Look, he's made that first run, and then he turns, and then he's the one that's on his toes. Now, on outswinging corners, very, very rare that you score direct from a header. So if you were the defending team, the one thing you've got to make sure of is being ready for the second ball. Brighton weren't. Azpilicueta, as I say, was on his toes.
Yeah.
And he tapped and he couldn't miss.
Yeah, and Andy, on the balance of play, that's about right, isn't it?
It's about right. I haven't really seen the threat from Brighton that perhaps we might have thought, just purely their running power. No, Chelsea at the moment look pretty comfortable, maybe have had opportunities to add to that. But look, the game's still in the balance. It's still there for Brighton to get back in it, but they've got to do a bit more.
OK, we've got another game, of course, that's also at half-time between Burnley and Aston Villa. Villa are leading, incidentally, at the break by 2-0. I'd like to welcome Chris Foy, former Premier League referee, who's up in the match centre for us. Chris, good to see you. The reason we've got you on is because we'd like to get your take on a controversial moment for Villa. They thought they'd taken the lead through Jack Grealish, but it was given as offside. Just talk us through it if you can.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting decision. I think the ball's crossed into the penalty, and you'll see Wesley get involved in active play, and he's slightly offside. But the question then is this the same phase of play? Because you'll see Tarkowski clears the ball. Aston Villa have the ability to reset, and Jack Grealish scores. So there's a lot of subjectivity about, is this the same phase of play? You'll see that he's slightly offside, gets involved in active play. Is it the same phase of play is the question. The VAR hub have deemed that it is, and therefore the goal was disallowed.
So the play's allowed to continue. There, you can see the 4 defenders stood in a line. Now, is that good enough to say that they have reset then?
In my opinion, I think once you've got the clearance and it's cleared the penalty area, and you'll see Charlie Taylor, I think it is the left back, he slots into position, you get your back 4, and I think they have had the ability to reset, and I think Aston Villa were quite unfortunate in this instance.
And I was just going to say, sorry Michael, just on that final angle, it is a matter of a millimetre or 2 that Wesley was offside. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, surely if possession transfers to the other team, surely that is now, it has to be a different phase of play. Tarkowski has got the perfect opportunity to do what he wants. He chooses to try to clear it just because he miskicks it. That's just a poor clearance, isn't it?
That's where Wesley was adjudged to have been offside. It's here,
now,
Michael.
I mean, they're in possession and he makes a mess of the clearance. Surely that's a new phase.
So that's a new phase of play, and I think that back 4 has reset. I agree with Chris. I think they're slow to see the run and deal with the run of Jack Grealish. And I'm surprised that one got chalked off. I really am.
So what are we saying? An error?
I think so. I think it is an error. I think it's very. The word that you said, Chris, at the start is the subjectivity around these issues, and that's too grey an area, really. What is a reset? What's a reset? What really constitutes a reset of a back 4? All of that stuff, Chris, is quite difficult to actually put your finger on.
I wouldn't disagree with you, Andy. I think when team possession changes, bearing in mind Tarkowski cleared the ball and it left the penalty area. Burnley were in possession, and then of course when the ball's crossed, we see that the goal's disallowed. But for me, the interesting bit was seeing Charlie Taylor slot back into the back 4. I thought the defence had the ability to reset. And as I said, I'm surprised that goal was disallowed.
OK. Chris, thanks very much indeed for clearing that up, so to speak, and it's a huge game really for Villa. Considering they're in the bottom 3, they need a win to get out of the relegation zone. Thankfully for them, though, as I mentioned, they're 2-0 up. And what will delight Dean Smith, Wesley, the Brazilian new signing, scored his first in 13 this season. And Grealish did score after all, Andy.
He did indeed, yeah. Great goal from Jack Grealish. Look, this is a massive game for Villa, not an easy one. So that's a brilliant, brilliant first 45 minutes for Villa. It could have been and should have been 3.
OK, so it's all going Villa's way at the